you know, my wife and I took training as advanced Shakespearean actors, where we learned how actors get trained to use their voices and their faces and their musicality to be in tune with each other. I very much want to emphasize this right now because most of us are locked up in our houses and divorced from most of our supportive structures because of the coronavirus. So the number one is we need to get musically in tune with each other. How do we stay in tune with each other? Through our voices and our faces. That's the primary mode of communication. Very important for us in the next few weeks and possibly months to keep our sanity is the glory of FaceTime, of the internet, of being able to do what we do right now. And I'm thinking, as I'm listening to you, Dan, and see Rich on the screen, how I'm completely not worried about what's happening outside of myself because I feel a deep connection with you guys. And as long as you see that connection through your voices and your faces with other people, your anxiety goes down. And so one of the core issues that we need to do as we take care of ourselves is to activate our FaceTimes and make lists of people who we'd like to talk to, people we haven't been in touch with for a long time, people who we may have neglected or wonder how they may be, and spend a good amount of the time that you have right now getting face-to-face and voice-to-voice contact with other human beings and really understand how are you doing and to get the connection going. And that's what Kolk Tavares' work is about. And that's what all this attachment work that you and I both love so dearly is about, is the engagement, mutual engagement of our voices and our faces. And that is the thing we've got to activate right now in this time of crisis, because if we don't, we look at TVs and we see voices and faces that don't resonate with us. We just passively receive that shit instead of actively being engaged with each other and say, what do you think? What are you doing? And for example, right now, we are in the process of setting up cooking for each other. We drop off food at each other's houses and we make a schedule. And then when supper time, we pick it up from our front stoops and we sit together and we eat. And while we eat, we turn on our FaceTimes and we talk to each other over a meal as if we could have real meals. Because that is so important part of being alive and being connected, which is the opposite of trauma. So that's Colvin and the lessons from Colvin.
Beautiful.
Second thing, the person you mentioned is Roger Sperry, who won the Nobel Prize for his split brain experience. But what I love best about Roger Sperry he says we have a brain. And he says, the most important function is the brain to help the organism to move. The brain has a few other secondary functions, but the most important thing is to move. And that again is a very central issue that gets very damaged by trauma. Traumatized people just are flailing all over the place and they're frozen and their bodies aren't moving. And we've got to move. So another part, very relevant right now in taking care of ourselves, is we've got to have a regular physical practice where we move our bodies. If you are lucky enough to have a yoga practice, do your yoga practice, get online, do it with other people, but move your body. If you don't move your body, your soul will rot. If you don't move your body, you die. And the definition of death is immobility. The definition of trauma is immobility. And for a long time, we have understood that trauma is about being in a physical position where you cannot do anything. So being able to do something, to do projects, to do your knitting or your cooking or your making things, very important to stay alive at this critical moment, because these are the core brain functions that we need to keep alive. Our human connection and our human musicality. If you can make music with yourself and with other people, fantastic. We've all seen the things on the internet of Italians singing to each other, Spanish people singing to each other. In my neighborhood in Boston, they're beginning to sing to each other also. Doesn't come quite as naturally for people in my neighborhood, but moving together, singing to people, enhancing your voice and being connected is the critical issue that faces all of us. If you have a trauma history, that is harder because you may feel so defective or so damaged or so unwanted.